City officials continue to assess Framingham's compliance with the MBTA Communities Act. Call to Talk hosts a community event at Fuller Middle School and an overview of Question 5 on the Massachusetts ballot in November, which would raise the minimum wage for tipped employees if approved. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick, and this is The Frame, Framingham News in Focus. Hello, and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. We begin with a recap of the Framingham City Council's Planning and Zoning Subcommittee meeting from this past Monday, September 23rd, as city officials continue to assess how Framingham can comply with the MBTA Communities Act, the state law that requires one multifamily housing district as of right within the zoning of cities and towns with T service. It does not require that anything actually be built, and Framingham is in line with the law through the end of the year, but they could fall out of compliance by the start of 2025, putting the city at risk of missing out on state funding for projects. A recent proposal shows that about 4,500 units are zoned for across the city. Downtown at Shoppers World, in Saxonville and Knobscot at 990 and along Speen Street. Director of Planning and Community Development for Framingham, Sarkis Sarkeesian, said the idea is to spread out zoning locally as much as possible, as members of the Planning Board also voted to recommend even more zoning density in Saxonville and in Knobscot in order to alleviate more pressure off of the downtown area. Members of the public and officials like District 1 City Councilor Christine Long pushed back against increasing Knobscot zoning density, adding that keeping the community's character is key. During Monday's meeting, at-large City Council member Janet Lean Bruno called for cooperation from all stakeholders across Framingham.
We have no choice in this matter, so I'm hoping that we can kind of find a way to compromise where needed and so we can get this forward. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble.
Now, the City Council has the final say in the MBTA Communities Act matter. They vote on what plans will be approved and rejected. Before that, though, both the City Council and the Planning Board will hold public hearings to solicit more feedback. We've followed this MBTA Communities Act story for months now, and we'll continue to keep you updated on it. You can read more about these developments on our website, www.theframe.news. There's more stories that matter to your community there, along with feature pieces that we've completed across the community. Stay in the loop with us on social media as well. @FrameNews_ is our home on Instagram and X. Subscribe to Access Framingham's channel on YouTube and hit the bell icon there to be notified whenever new Frame episodes go live. Find us on Facebook by searching for The Frame too. Call to Talk, the United Way of Tri-Counties resource that provides 24/7 help over the phone to people in crisis, held an event at Fuller Middle School this past Wednesday night, September 25th, to highlight the importance of preventing suicide locally, especially among younger residents. Mental health advocates were on hand for a screening of the film entitled My Ascension, which tells the story of Emma Benoit, who attempted suicide at the age of 16. She survived but was paralyzed following the attempt. She's since used her experience to help others in their journeys. During a panel discussion following the film's presentation, Emma discussed the importance of bringing people together in order to start a dialogue and to help peers open up about any struggles they might be having emotionally or mentally, even if those conversations can be difficult.
I think it's so important that we equip ourselves and we equip our communities with these kinds of programs so that way people struggling know that they're not alone, because ultimately we're not alone. We're all here for each other.
And a reminder to you now that if you or anyone you know is in crisis and needs someone to talk to, Call to Talk has people standing by and ready at all times, every day of the year, as a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Crisis Center. You can dial the numbers on your screen now, including 988, to speak with someone who will listen and help. City officials are asking residents to report any sightings of a specific invasive insect. The Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources recently confirmed an infestation of the spotted lanternfly, which you see on your screen now. The spotted lanternfly is a pest that infiltrates plants and certain trees, such as tree of heaven and grapevines. While they don't bite or sting people or pets, they can harm agriculture. They're known to bunch up together in groups while leaving behind honeydew, a sticky substance, on anything they touch. City officials are asking anyone who might come across a spotted lanternfly to take a picture of it and report the sighting to the Department of Agricultural Resources. Runners and walkers in Framingham will be taking to the streets on Saturday, September 28th, to make a difference during the 13th annual Purple Passion 5K. Hosted by Voices Against Violence as part of the South Middlesex Opportunity Council's operations, the event aims to raise awareness for domestic and sexual violence and support valuable resources for survivors and violence prevention. Day of registration for the event will start Saturday at 7 a.m. at 7 Bishop Street, which is SMOC's headquarters, before remarks are made by local leaders at 7:30. The race steps off at 8 o'clock that morning. The route will take participants along Howard Street and up onto Concord Street before heading over to Denison Ave, Warren Road, and Flag Drive. From there, racers will turn onto Normandy Road before heading to Hartford Street and finally turning back onto Bishop Street. Be aware of that if you'll be in the area driving that morning. Finally tonight, for our frame-by-frame segment, the first in our series previewing the questions that will be appearing on the Massachusetts ballot during this November's election. Voters will be asked a total of 5 questions that vary in subject matter. We here at The Frame want to lay out what proponents for both sides say before you get ready to cast your vote. We're starting at the end of the list this week, though, as we dive into question 5. A yes vote on question 5 would raise the minimum wage for tipped workers from the current mark of $6.75 an hour. Over the course of 5 years, employers would have to raise pay to meet the state's general minimum wage, which is currently $15 an hour. We spoke with Yes on 5 proponent Grace McGovern, One Fair Wages worker organizer in Massachusetts, as well as Chris Cohan, No on 5 spokesperson and general consultant, to learn more about each platform.
We're opposed for one big reason. Servers and bartenders don't want this. When we first got hired, we talked to servers and bartenders. We did a poll of servers and bartenders, other tipped employees. It came back that 91% wanted to keep things the way it is. They like being able to work for their tips. They like the opportunity to be able to earn far more than the minimum wage, and they don't want to be considered minimum wage workers. If this were to pass, it would take the tips directly out of the hands of servers, bartenders, and other tipped employees, and put it in the hands of management.
I think people should vote yes on 5 because it's honestly the fair thing to do for a lot of groups of people. It's fair for the workers who are currently being paid a sub-minimum wage. It's fair to consumers who right now are being used as a subsidy for labor costs. And lastly, it's fair to employers that already pay a full minimum wage to their workers. It'll even the playing field for a lot of small businesses that are already doing the right thing.
Now, if you want to watch both of those interviews in their entirety to hear what both Grace and Chris had to say about the yes and no votes respectively, you can head to our website, www.theframe.news, or you can visit Access Framingham's YouTube channel. That will do it for this week's Framingham News in Focus. For the entire team here at The Frame, thanks for joining us this week. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.